Hi everyone, it's Di from My Enchanted Journals. Merry Christmas! Okay, you're going to need some more Christmas cards, a few doilies, some vintage postcards if you've got them, some other digitals to fill in. You need an old book unless you make your own, and the usual bits and pieces. At the end, we're going to have this amazing Advent calendar junk journal. It's so beautiful, you're going to love it. Come on, let's go and see how I make it. Hi everyone. So today I'm going to show you through how to make an Advent junk journal for yourself. Now, if you're like me, you're always doing everything for everybody else and you rarely do anything for yourself. So we're going to turn this humble little book into a vintage look junk journal, and it's going to be an Advent one. So 1 to 25. It's approximately 6 by 4. So perfect size for postcards and things. Look at the binding. Oh man, it's so old. Okay, so I've kind of worked out if I get to page 22, that will be enough for our journal. So I need to take out this middle section here. Okay, we'll put that to one side. So now we're just left with these pages. And you can see that there's quite a bit of room in there. Right, so that's step one, is get your book, choose your book, and find out how many pages you're going to need. If you want a page to a day, which is what I've done here. Before, I showed you the things that you'll need. So now we're going to move to step 2 after you've done that. All right, step 2. You need your postcards, which I have vintage postcards that I collect through the year. And I love this one here, but I've got a few, as you can see. These are so cheap to buy, a couple of dollars, and I love them. This one's so cute. But yeah, I think I've decided on this because it looks really nice against the red. So what you have to do now is make sure that all the Christmas cards, bits of card, ephemera, whatever you're choosing, are now the same size as the postcards. So just cut those around. See, I've made that the same size. So when it goes into my book, it will fit perfectly on a page. Okay, and then we'll move to the next step. By the way, before I get started, now I made these myself. These are vintage house numbers to use for the Advent calendar, but they're really cute. All right, so let's get on and cut these up so that they're the same size as the postcards. And I just use one as a template. These ones here, I think, are Louisa Heinzel. They're really nice vintage postcards. And so now we just want to start cutting up our cards. Okay, as you can see, now they're all the one size, and you'll need 25, obviously, for the Advent calendar. One for each day between December 1st and the 25th, obviously. And one more thing I just wanted to mention is I've also got some washi tape. You might need some of that. All right, my next step, if you've got a soft cover book, like I have, it's kind of, I don't know, it's like linen or something. But anyway, the next step for me is to, these are really old, so I need to reinforce the spine, and I need to reinforce every page. So I'm going to do that behind the pages, just with some masking tape. So I'm just going to do a 3-hole pamphlet stitch and get that sewn back together. So that's my next step. I'm going to do that now. So I've reinforced all the pages, and also this is the stage where you add, remember our doilies that we had right at the start? If you want to add doilies, this is the place to do it. So what I did was I added a fabric page in here, which I haven't sewn yet, so I can show you. It just covers the spine here, and then we're going to put our signature in here, and it sort of just comes over, and it's really sweet. Picked that up at the second-hand shop, I think $1. Okay, so I'm just going to flip through and show you. And then I've got another old doily here, a little white doily in here, and then another one of these right in the centre. And then obviously you'll have the other halves coming through the other side. So I'm going to go and sew those in now, and then I'll come back and show you what it looks like. Now for the cotton, I'm just using a bookbinder's cotton that I bought off of Amazon, and I just measure 1, 2 and a half, and I cut it. Okay, just tying up that middle section. So you'll see I've ever so slightly put the pages off centre. So that was for 2 reasons: to stop the stress on the old book having the holes in the same place, and also for interest. So if I close it up now, you'll see that we've got a 3-hole pamphlet slit right there, and our book looks quite cute and chunky already, and lots of layers. Alright, so now the fun begins. Let's add our postcards and do our cover first. So that's the next step, is the cover. So we'd already decided we were going to put this on the front, which I really like, but then if I stick it down, it kind of hides the cover and all that sort of thing. So I thought what I would do is make some fabric hinges. So we're going to put this under here and the other end of it under here. And then what will happen is we can fold them around, and then this can undo, and we can see that the old postcard details, and we can also see the cover, and we can even embellish that again if we want to. So let's do that now and get that postcard with its hinges on. That's dry. So now we're going to attach it. I just had to get a cuppa. Right, let's have a look here. So now we're going to attach this to here. Would I like to see a little bit of that pattern that's on the actual book cover there. So, and on the back, I quite like that they will just be sitting like that. It's sort of rough and ready, and I like that. Right, so about there. Just flip it over. Pull it back around to where we want it. That's it. Nice. I'll leave that to dry, and we're back in the morning and we'll start our Advent numbers. Okay, it's the next morning, and as we can see, our flap stuck. These are our ones over the page. Now, you will find with some old books that the colour will run. Doesn't matter. I quite like it actually. Christmas. All right, next step on our journey to make an Advent junk journal. You will need approximately 12 fabric hinges. And as you can see, just gives me a little bit of interest when I'm going to glue the pages on. These were what we'll use to attach our cards to some of the pages. So go away and find some hinges. It can be any kind of fabric. Obviously, if it's Christmas, you want to stick to something like this. Come back when you've done the 12. Great, so you've got your hinges. First thing we're going to do is decide whether we're doing anything else to the front cover. All right, so I've had a little bit of a play, and I think that this here looks really nice tucked behind there like that. The gold and the gold. Can you see the gold wings there? And then the gold on this card. I was thinking this, like this, and then I fished out just a junk piece of gold paper. Lots of things like that in our scrap stuff, isn't there? And then that, like that. and I was going to hinge it again so that I can use it, but I think that just finishes off the cover and gives a little bit of Christmassy look to it. So I'm going to stick that on with hinges, and I'll come back and show you how that looks. That's all stuck now. So now my cover opens like this, which is really cute, and then it opens like this, and I've got this little piece of paper here which I just rubbed over, and it just says, "The love of a family is life's greatest blessing." So technically this is going to be my number 1 for my advent calendar. So I need to get my number 1 off of my sheet here and pop it there. But first we're going to see where we're going to put the rest of the postcards and things that we've got, just to make a decision on those and see how we go. All right, so get your postcards out and let's have a look. So here's mine here. So technically this is number 1, right? So now I'm going to go over the page to where I hinged it before here, and this will become number 2 because we want to cover these hinges over. So I'm thinking this is nice and bright and cheery, and I like how the green ties in with my page there, the green on the Christmas trees. So I'll probably hinge that as well. I've got a couple of other little bits here that match the hinges that I already did, so I'm going to hinge that in there. So we really need now to start hinging them in. So let's start with this one, which will be number 2, and we've got a couple of hinges there. So we want to turn it around again and get our piece of paper that we were using to stop everything else getting covered in glue. And we want to put this here like this. I actually want to be able to see a bit of the old book. It's got some writing there, so I'm going to hinge it as high as I can. We're getting there. Right, so we know we've got number 1 in here, so I've taken the liberty of sticking my number 1 there. And then if we flick over the page, we know we've got number 2 here. So I've stuck my number 2 here. But this is what you have to do now. You've got to go through the rest of your book and write like I have. See here? That's 3. And then 4, 5, and so on. 6, right? So I'm not going to go through them all. So that's your next step. Go ahead and number your pages and then come back. So you've marked your pages, well done. Now the next step is to put the cards that you want on those particular pages. So I just started putting mine randomly through, and then I realized that some of my postcards, because I'm using different colored numbers, didn't match the cards particularly. So what I did was I sat in front of the television last night and just matched my numbers to a particular card. And that way I just found that it looks better when it goes into the journal. So if you're using the same coloured numbers, say if you've picked a red theme for Christmas, then that's not going to affect you. But if you're using my sheet of numbers, then you might just want to do that little step first. Now, remember, this is not junk journaling where we do, layers and then we add in. So this is just to mark, like an advent calendar, the day that you're up to, okay? So go away. You need to choose which stickers or which numbers go with which cards, and then stick the numbers to the cards, and then the next step will be doing the hinges. Great. How did you go? Mine's done. So let's just have a quick look at what I did. So you can see here, obviously, we've got my number 1s on the front. We know about that. We've got number 2. I've stuck that down. So there's 3, which is just hanging at the moment. 4, 5 will go there, and so on. Right, now what I did with some of them was the ones that are digital copies. Obviously we don't want to hinge those. They'll be too fine, so I've stuck them directly to the page already. And then I'll do some collaging down here later. Go ahead and do that now and get your pages all ready to go, and we're going to do the hinges. Let's do some hinges. There's many ways to do hinges. It's just the way that I'm going to do it today. So we've got card 3 for our journal spot. So what I thought I would do is I've just got a piece of doily there, and I'm going to just glue it to the back like this, so that when it goes on here, we're going to have a little bit of the lace hanging out the side, which will look quite sweet. And then the hinge will come from this side like this. Just going to glue that on, and then I'll come back and show you how it looks. How did you go? Mine is done. Not completed, but those pages are in. So let's go have a look. So we know from number 2, and now we're going to go to number 3. So I use this hinge here for number 3. Put it in. How nice does this one look with the blue, and it goes on the blue. I just think that's lovely. Really looks lovely. And then number 5 is in with a hinge this side. Really happy with how it turned out. There's that flower. How lovely does that look? And this one folds this way. And this one is number 8. 9. It's really sweet. 10 folds over this way. Got a little bit of washi tape there as well. But I love the pink, picking up the pink on the number. 11 is this one here. So the hinge is there. Open it up. 11, and I've brought the fabric hinge over on this side. 12, 13, look, see the little purple bit? Picks up the purple on the card. It's really sweet. 14 is one we stuck down. 15. Now, you need to get yourself a gift tag, because you're going to buy yourself a present. And then this gift tag that you have, by the 15th, you need to have bought yourself something, write yourself a beautiful message about how loved you are, and put it under the tree. So 16 is the little angel. So sweet. That opens down here. And that's the middle of the signature. 17 is one of our stick down postcards from Louisa Heinzel. 18 is the other side of the postcard. 19 has one of the hinges coming through over from the other side, which is this one. So that's 20. 21 also has some of the hinge coming over. Adds interest to these pages as well. 22, really like how this turned out. It's got some of the blue flower from the embroidery, and then the blue on the number. 23 is another one. So some of these pages still look a bit plain, but I'm going to dress those when I actually journal. 24 is the vintage postcard that says a Happy New Year. And that hinge also goes over the page and adds interest to number 25. So I've made this a little bit of a tuck spot. I'm going to put something in there later. And this is my journal card here. That's just tucked behind there. And that's also a pocket there. Great. Okay. Now, another thing that you can do is slow stitching. Now, slow stitching is not embroidery. Don't mistake it for embroidery. It's not embroidery. Slow stitching is this. So let's take a look at what I slow stitched to start with. So here, you can see, and all I've done is add interest to this photograph that I put on page 1. Great. All right. So how nice does this look? I left some hanging out. We've got our fabric hinges hanging out. Put some more of the fabric that I used inside on the front cover here. So it's looking really chunky already. And now for the final step. You need to get ready 25 little things to do with crafting. We want things that are small, that can slot in to our advent calendar junk journal. So now I'm going to give you some ideas of what I got to put in mine. Right, let's see what I came up with to put into my advent calendar. So there is, after all, what we've made is an advent junk journal, and now we need to fill it with something so that every day we open up and we get something. And of course, us junk journalers, we know what we like and what we don't like. So I've chosen 25 things that we would use in crafting all the time. So there's a photograph, stickers, a mini stamp, another mini stamp of a snowflake, some craft tassels, these gorgeous wafer thin leaves. Put the whole packet in, won't take up any room. What about some money? On that day, when that's in there, you go and buy yourself a coffee. What about a new pen? This one my friend bought me, and I absolutely love it. It's got a B on the end. But go and treat yourself to a new pen. Some embroidery cotton. We'll always be using that, won't we? This book belongs to Tag, so you could put that right in the front of your journal. A little badge that I found at the thrift. It's got an angel on it, and it says best friend. But yeah, that's really cute. You remember this? This is day 2, Christmas card, and I made the remainder into a bookmark. And so the lovely tassel will hang on the outside. Just plain on the back, and you can journal on there. There's some washi tape, Christmas theme, of course. These 3 are vintage tags that I ordered off the internet, and I absolutely love them. They don't take up any room, and I'll use them in crafting every day. Another sticker with the red, love that. Some more stickers, merry and bright, 'tis the season, etc. Another little mini stamp, cute little owl. This one's a bird. That could be really nice if you decorate it around it. These I find at the thrift all the time are like cross stitches. They're really cheap. Sometimes you'll find them inside a frame. Just buy it to chuck the frame away. But that's really good. The work that's gone into that is absolutely beautiful. A Christmas greetings one, bookmark. I think I've had that for about 9 months now, so that will go in there. And another little one, so you could always chop that off there if you wanted to. Some sewing machine needles. Don't know about you, but I'm always needing them. And lastly, I dried a flower out of my garden. So there, my friends, is 25 ideas about what you can put inside your very own Advent junk journal. Fill it up, and every day give yourself a little treat, just like you would if you had a proper Advent calendar. I'm going to pop mine in now, and then I'll have a final flip through with you. Oh boy, this is going to be so much fun. Look at what it looks like. Oh, it's going to be so much fun. Okay, let's have a flip through. So, our cover flips open. I've put my pen in there because I'm going to need my pen the whole month. This is day 1 with our family rubbing. Flip over for day 2. Day 2 has got a book page that we need to fill in and tell everybody who it belongs to. Day 3, first a little mini stamp. 4 flips up to reveal a cross stitch. 5 is a bird on the front, so I put a little birdie stamp inside. 6, Santa. I've got some stickers that we're going to use here. 7, flips down, and we've got some more stickers. 8 is our photograph. 9 is our embroidery thread, because I think that page could probably do with something. 10 is one of our vintage tags. 11 is our leaves. 12, our sewing machine needles. 13, we've got our little embroidered bookmark. 14 is where I've put the bookmark because it needs to remind us that tomorrow, day 15, we need to treat ourselves. We've got to buy a gift to go under the tree, remember? And we're going to take ourselves for coffee when we do it. That's 15. 16 is our wee angel. It's from the previous page. 16 has got our craft tassels. 17 is another vintage tag. 18 is the last vintage tag. 19, I've got some stickers. 20 is another one of the little mini stamps. The snowflake one, which is going to be really cute to use. 21 has got the washi tape. 22 is our cute little flap there. And we've got the little mini stamp. 23 is my dried flower in there. 24 is this embroidery here. And 25, I've got my journaling tag, and my little day 25 badge goes onto the back of my journal. So there we have it, everybody. You have now made an Advent junk journal, and you know the beauty of it is you can use it every year. Once you take the things out on the days, all your little gifts, once you take them out next year, you just fill it up again. And it's fun. Take 10 minutes in the morning to yourself, have a cup of tea or a cup of coffee, just relax, undo your journal, get your little present out and treat yourself, and then maybe do a little bit of journaling just for yourself. I just really enjoyed the process. I thought it was beautiful to do, and I'm really looking forward to going through it from December the 1st. I'm still thinking about it. I may do a day-to-day video showing you what I'm doing to decorate inside. The last thing I just wanted to show you is I've made a prompt sheet. If you don't know what to write on a certain day, then I've made up a prompt sheet. So there's 25 prompts on there. I'm sure that most of you can think of what you want to write, but sometimes we can't. Sometimes we get a little bit of a blank. So I've made up this prompt sheet, and I'll put details of that down into the box underneath as well. There we have it. Just fabulous. Absolutely love it. Thanks for joining me. See you next time. Bye-bye.